Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel for OCD Recovery. Today I want to talk about a topic that I have covered many times, but I haven't made a direct video on this subject in quite a while, and that is why doing anything to calm yourself down in the moment, whether you have chronic OCD or any of the anxiety-based disorders, or you're a non-sufferer. This is not just for OCD and anxiety sufferers. This is for all people who are going through anything in their life. Anytime you're trying to calm yourself down in the moment and not just feel all of your emotions, you're not A, building any sort of good frustration tolerance. You're not B, building any practical, active coping skills. Passive coping skills are kind of just like, I'm going to let it float like a cloud in one ear and out the other. And even though there is an activeness to grounding techniques, because you are actively doing something, 5 things you could touch, 5 things you could see, 5 things you could smell. You're not actually building any sort of resilience by doing that. And this is a very hard thing, not to just get OCD and anxiety sufferers to understand, but non-sufferers as well, because there's so much bad information on this topic. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this video. This light is going to probably bother some people, but we're going to let it be there. I was like thinking about where I could go. Maybe I move this way. Maybe let's go back and get the whole light on there. Oh, no, it disappeared. It's back. Okay. So if you think of most people that I know, and maybe that you know, that use techniques to calm themselves down in the moment that are very wishy-washy, most of them, and I mean the vast majority of them, don't have a lot of good habits in their life. Many people don't have good relationship skills or communication skills. They're not the best with managing their finances. Not saying you have to be crazy here and never buy coffee or anything like that. We forget, you could die tomorrow. And, this whole idea of, never ever enjoy yourself is too rigid in my opinion, but that's a different story. Most people have road rage that struggle with this. There's not a direct correlating factor, but when I sit people down who use a lot of these techniques, they usually have the lowest frustration tolerance I've ever seen. And why is that? Because they've never been taught that you don't need to do anything to calm yourself down in the moment. What you actually need to do is feel the brunt of all of your emotions and go about your day as best as you can. Now, that's easier said than done, and that's a skill, regardless if you have OCD or not, that typically takes a couple years to build. Not a couple months, because your biology, the way we live, our economics, socioeconomics, our environment, the culture, whatever terms that you want to use to describe the, where you live. Culture would probably be the best word to sum it up. Doesn't align with building high frustration tolerance for the most part. You have to go out and seek it. Our news, our media, politics, money, religion, our conversations at the dinner table, road rage, sports, yelling, game day is all correlated with low frustration tolerance for the most part. So when you're listening to someone like me, a random person on the internet, that's telling you you're probably better off dropping all techniques to calm yourself down, any sort of self-talk, any sort of, this is really hard to explain to people in a single video, any sort of gratitude in the moment that you're using compulsively, you can absolutely use gratitude, Buddhism techniques, Taoism techniques, positivity techniques, all these things that people say or have no cons whatsoever are very much, they're highly mistaken. Because although they're not 100% inherently bad, there's more than likely more cons about them than pros. When I go through a stressful situation in my life, the best thing I do is to feel all that emotion and work on what the problem I have at hand. So if I have 5, 6 different people messaging me, all asking me for reassurance, and I feel my frustration raising in my body, I don't talk to myself. I don't say, all right, just wait, you can handle it. All right, just take a walk and calm down. I don't do any of those things. I might take time for myself here and there because I'm a human, but I'm not constantly reminding myself to calm myself down. This is the problem that people really, it gets them into big trouble, especially with OCD and anxiety. You have to learn, if you're not doing your readings, especially in the earlier days, if you're not doing your readings and breaking down your beliefs on paper, The rest of your day, you're trying to build your structure and your habits as you go throughout your day without speaking back to yourself. That is what you're trying to do. And that's going to feel impossible because the urge to respond back, the urge to run away will be so high in the moment. You're going to fail for months and months and months and months. You probably fail for the first 6 to 12 months a lot. Maybe fail a little bit less as you get closer to 9, 10, 12 months. Have you ever met anyone that stops all techniques to calm themselves down in the moment when their anxiety is high, in 3 to 6 months? No, never. I've never seen one person personally, so from my experience. So you are going to have to learn to go towards these things again and again and again and again. And when you fail, you try over and over and over again. It's something to really, really think about. So again, you don't need any grounding techniques. You don't have to do any I was on a call with someone last week where they were really having a difficult time understanding this because they're like, I don't understand why that's bad for you. I'm like, yeah, but you're still stuck. You're still afraid of feeling negative feelings. And what you keep doing is reminding yourself compulsively of gratitude. This is a major problem. Compulsively reminding yourself of gratitude over and over and over again just keeps you stuck in the OCD cycle because you're not actually allowing yourself to feel all your emotions and go about your day. So really think about that. Phil@OCDrecovery.com. Let me know what you think. Please comment down below if you're doing any of these things. Remember, take my sensory motor for an example and many other fears, my aura OCD. I haven't spoken a word back to myself about these fears in years. Nothing. There's nothing I have to remind myself of. It doesn't mean I don't feel things from time to time, but there's no need to remind myself, force positivity, or anything else in between. So hope to hear from you guys. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Wow, almost choked. Wow. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.